Welcome back. We are going to be talking to Oliver from Intel, and we're going to my happy place, which is hardware. Thank you for bringing in a... Okay, I'm going to let him say it, because I was like, pardon? So tell me about this device.
Yeah, many thanks actually for the invite. Looking forward to talking you through this. So what this is actually is it's the smallest PC in the world. So people might think it's a smartphone. In fact, it's not. It's the smallest PC in the world, and it's designed for ruggedized outdoor use cases. So it's for field staff, actually, like logistics people, like doctors, medical people, workers doing inventory management, and things like that. It's part of a family, actually, of 3 different screen sizes.
Oh, really?
And what makes this thing special is that it runs full Windows. So that's why I said it's the smallest PC in the world.
So how do you turn it on?
Oh, this is just an engineering example. I just
heartbreaking.
my apologies for this, but this is really hot off the press, and I didn't want to miss the opportunity to show you this
For
thing
sure.
right now.
So what we're looking at here is a Bay Trail T tablet.
That is correct.
So
absolutely.
this is running full Windows 8.1. This display
Yes.
size is what, 4.7 or 5 inches?
Perfect. Yes, 4.7.
Yeah, 4.7
yes,
inches.
Exactly.
So it's got a ruggedized housing here, which is really great to see. The big volume buttons around there. So at the top, this is going to be a thermal reader and a barcode
Yes,
reader?
exactly. Thermal and barcodes,
Right.
and that is actually the idea. So it's a basic tablet running full Windows, so that companies can integrate it in their backbone systems. And there is innovation possible. So you can take this off. We call it a smart back concept.
Yeah, I see that there's visible
4
screws
right?
just right there, and they're not even the annoying ones. We have to find the
Yes.
super tiny screwdriver.
Yes,
It's just the normal one, which is great.
just technical people would have the rights, screwdrivers,
yeah.
to unlock this. But you don't do this each and every day.
No, of course
but you
not.
can change it, and there is a lot of innovation going on in this segment, because if you take it off, it's a standardized connection, a USB to inside the tablet. And then you can exchange this thing with a magnetic stripe reader, with a chip and pin reader.
Oh, interesting.
With a double battery, if you want so. There is a lot of innovation going on. A car cradle, for example, some companies have. And the point is, since that is a part of a family of 3 screen sizes, actually, you can use the very same smart back, because it's standardized for the bigger tablets as well. So it's a modular concept, basically.
4.7,
8.3,
8.3,
10.1,
and 10.1. Okay. So you can definitely scale to any vertical market with the same back-end infrastructure.
Exactly, that's the idea. So whatever your people do, they can choose actually from the screen size. So that thing here is really mobile, so you can really carry that around.
Right.
With an 8-inch, obviously, you could not. You can basically choose the functionality and target certain segments, inventory management people, people controlling the food chain that need the thermal probe, right? The refrigerator has to be cooled down to minus 20, 4. And by the way, they need a barcode reader as well to make efficient processes. And then you can choose actually whether or not you want Wi-Fi only or LTE.
Okay.
So that's another thing. So it's a modular system actually that you can choose from to serve basically all different vertical markets, field staff markets, with basically the same tablet running the same OS.
So now let's talk about this 4.7-inch display that is going to be running full Windows. That seems crazy.
Yes, yes, it does. And I always love the reaction of people taking a look when I show the full Windows actually on this, because it has extremely small letters, as you can imagine. So it's a nice attention getter. But still, the point is, you would not work with that thing like you would work with a normal PC, right? It is a PC if you add a bigger screen to this and connect the screen via USB or whatever and have your keyboard. But people using that outdoor, they don't work like you would do at your desk in your office, right? That doesn't make sense. They use the app with the tiles, right? And running a barcode reader, this is what that is. You just need a few buttons, right? That's it. You don't need to type anything or read the Microsoft OS. But it runs full Windows so that the companies can integrate into their backbone systems. And when they choose a bigger tablet, they don't have to play around with manifold operating systems, don't have to rewrite actually their apps to fit different screen sizes. So that is why we invented with partners this modular concept actually.
And you didn't consider it all to go the route of Android?
Available as Android as well.
Okay.
But I'm experiencing actually a lot of interest for the Windows system, because that's what most of the companies are running in their backbone systems, and so they like that idea.
No, absolutely. And I went over to see SecureTab. Actually, they're doing the security solution for Blackberry. Right, because Blackberry announced a new tablet, and I found it very interesting that they were using the Samsung Galaxy Tab S. You know, like the hardware's not innovative at all. It's something that we've seen before. But during my discussion with them, I found it really interesting that when they did a survey of what their customers wanted, they wanted Android, and I thought, but if you're in a Windows environment, this doesn't make sense to me that you would want to go in the direction of Android.
Maybe it has to do. Maybe it has to do that a lot of people actually started. They think Android when they see mobile devices,
Right.
and they think Windows when they see stationary PCs, right? But I think this will change. Now that there are choices available, I think that it is in most cases easier to use Windows than it is to use Android. But we are agnostic actually, so you can use the device and have the device actually in both worlds and in both versions actually.
Interesting. So you guys have just made this prototype. It's hot off the press.
Yes, that's right.
When can we expect to see this maybe shipping?
In a couple of months.
Okay.
This summer it will be on the market, and I can assure you there are big customers interested in kind of putting their branding that thing and integrating it into their ecosystem. And that's another point. There is an ecosystem behind this that actually brings the innovation in these segments.
Interesting. So can you talk a little bit about that? Just, I mean, my single point of reference, I guess, for this show in terms of other hardware that's been released for a vertical market would be the SecureTab from Blackberry, and I know it's not at all an appropriate comparison hardware-wise, but I'm curious about the type of ecosystem that you see building out for this, because the Blackberry SecureTab was just for government, right? And they built out something that was incredibly niche, and it obviously doesn't have the same flexibility that you did. But when they talked to me about how you envision creating the backend infrastructure for a government, like this is something that I'd never. Like it's more enormous and more full of inflexibility than I could even have guessed. And so obviously your customers are going to be a lot more flexible than government, but what types of systems do you have in place for being able to integrate in with stuff like that?
So let's make an example here. So for example, I think easy to explain is police officer. So for example, police officer in a car, he wants to have navigation in his car, right? Okay. And he wants to be connected to his boss, to the emergency systems of the police. So what he needs, maybe not that screen size, he would basically pick an 8-inch. Let's make it an 8-inch. Mm-hmm. So on an 8-inch, you can show very nicely navigation, right? But this thing needs to be ruggedized, because the police officer, for example, arriving at an accident, he gets out of the car. It's raining, right? There is a little stress going on. He let drop this tablet. It needs to be resistant and robust enough to stand this. And then there is an accident, right? So what does the officer do with that tablet? Instead of taking a pencil and a piece of paper, which gets wet because it's raining again, right? And taking notes, he takes a picture of the accident. And because the innovation is there is a software in place, lots of different ISVs, smaller software vendors. Yeah. There is a software in place that allows you to integrate that picture just taken from the broken car accident, to integrate that directly in the document. And then just a couple of notes he can do with a pencil right on the screen. And then basically he is done with the accident. Doesn't have to go back to the office, take a wet piece of paper, and try to remember what the accident was about and what he has seen. So things like that. Or, for example, medical, healthcare, a doctor talking to the patient, right? And a doctor can show on the tablet, here you see that that's your bone. You see how it is broken, right? It's a complicated accident. Your arm is broken, complicated. So we need to have a surgery with you. You see, this is how it looks like, and this is what I'm going to do. So that's a different discussion than just the doctor showing up at the bedside and without any kind of pictures and things like that. And for that case, again, you need a ruggedized tablet, not because it's raining inside the hospital, but because desanitization, right? So you need to desanitize that thing. So these are actually a couple of the examples and use cases, and they are manifold. And for all these kind of things, you need special equipment, bigger screens, smaller screens. You can use smart bag concept for all these use cases. But instead of buying for all different use cases a new device, you take the standard device and change it with the accessories that attach to it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The theme of being modular has been very prevalent, I would say, at CeBIT this year, especially when we're walking through Code N. There's definitely having modular solutions and being able to provide exactly what the consumer needs is something that I'm glad that people are now starting to be able to think about how you can roll that out more mass scale than just creating something that's extremely designed focused per customer, which is ultimately almost too expensive for too many markets.
Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. Because think about it from a customer point of view, actually. Typical project sizes of devices, barcode readers, for example, or magnetic stripe readers. A couple thousand devices are being sold over the course of a year for that particular customer, for that particular use case. So if you start off and design and develop a device from scratch, basically, for just a couple thousand units, you are way off with time to market.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're way off with cost. And this is why actually tablets and mobile devices so far have not found broad penetration in the markets. But now you can take this and just designing that little smart bag, it doesn't cost that much, it doesn't take that long. Certification is much easier, and you just attach it to a multi-purpose
And you can use a regular
tablet.
screwdriver, not a special technical one.
Absolutely, which is very important.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time
Many thanks
to
for
come
the
in and join me. Now, I always love checking out new hardware. This is definitely something that is kind of my happy place when it comes to tech.
Many thanks again.
Yeah, absolutely. So we will be back very shortly, but first we're going to have some fantastic lunch here at the Intel booth. It is Germany, so I'm going to see if maybe today they're going to serve some schnitzel. Now, we are going to see the University of Dresden. Ooh.